Good morning, everyone. I hope you have your tea or your coffee or whatever you're drinking as we jump in to the oracle cards shortly. Morning, Liz. Thanks for coming, guys. I've got Yoda today. I'm hoping we have the wisdom of the Yoda. Could use it. Good morning. So, guys, let me know about the connection, okay? Stay in communication with me about the connection. You'll notice I'm back in my living room again. And I know last time the video got a little not great. So just keep me posted, because on my end, it always looks great. And then you could have strange things happening on your end. So I've Reiki'd the situation to help with the technical difficulties. All right, so we're gonna jump in soon. Okay, Shelly, well, you know what? You guys, like, this is a general reading, like, kind of like for what's happening out there. But if there's a specific question you have or something in your life specifically to you that you want answers for, then just take a moment and set a silent intention for the answer for whatever the question you have in your mind to come up in the reading, because it absolutely will. Even though this is sort of general themes of what's going on, there's going to be cards that speak to you directly, and you're going to be like, that's my card. So that's the magic of how this works. So you can just sort of sit in that energy of intent that you want to receive clarity or answers on anything that you're going through right now or that you need answers for. So just take a moment and do that while we get ready to start. And I just want to do a check-in and see how everyone's doing. It was 2 weeks ago that we met. It feels to me like it was 3 months ago. Like, it's not that a lot happened in my life in 2 weeks, but I just feel like, I don't know, it's weird. It feels like I haven't seen you guys in forever. So I was alone for about a week there, kind of retreating and writing. So maybe that's it. I miss people. Anyway, I'm not in the trailer today. Kind of sucks. The signal there is not good. So this started off tea and tarot in the trailer, and now it's tea and tarot in my living room. So hopefully that's okay. The energy's still there. The answers are still there. Eventually the trailer is going to have to be put down for the winter, so I can't really do tarot through the winter in the trailer anyway, but definitely in my living room. So also let me know too at the end of today, message me or let me know in the comments if you want me to keep this going all fall and winter, because I can. If you guys like it, we can keep it going till the end of time. So, I mean, it's fun for me. If it's fun for you, let's just keep at it. So today I've got all of the usual suspects. I did order some new card decks, but they're arriving tonight, unfortunately, but for next time. So I think, like, I want to start with the fairies today. They're kind of jumping out at me. And when I say they're jumping out at me, it's different for everyone, but sometimes, like, I'll see things light up, or it's almost like they get brighter or highlighted. My attention is drawn to them, and that's how I know where to go. For some of you, it might be a different feeling. You might get that same kind of like visual, like glitter on something, or you might just feel intuitively pulled to something. But just start paying attention to your intuition and how it gives you messages throughout the day over the next couple of weeks, and just notice, like, do you feel them? Do you see them? Do you hear them? So Liz, my cards, I used to get them from a wholesaler because I used to have a store and carry them all the time. And I don't do that anymore. And I try to buy them locally whenever I can, but sometimes you can't see inside the decks if you're buying like from Indigo or local bookstores. So I like to go online and kind of like sort of do a search of the card deck I'm interested in to sort of see inside it, or I'll just get an intuitive feeling about it. But people sometimes have really good luck on Amazon. I know Hay House had a sale recently. So there's lots of online bookstores where you can purchase oracle cards. Lots of local bookstores. So I would just do a Google search and kind of oracle cards with what you love, because there's probably a deck. I'm sure there's a deck, an oracle card deck on everything. So, and then you'll probably find something you resonate with. My very first deck that I ended up with was a tarot deck called the Aquarian Tarot, and I was in high school, and I was really drawn to it because it was kind of an Art Deco style, but I never really connected to the deck. I didn't really feel like I bonded with it, and so I sort of discarded tarot for several years, and I didn't go back to it. until a friend did a reading for me, and her cards, I was just like, oh my God, those are my cards. I have to get that deck. And there's so many decks now, so there's almost too much choice. Yeah. And I will start carrying cards again, Liz. I'm going to have a little shop in my home in Dundas that I'm building right now with COVID and everything else. And I'm also working on an online shopping cart. I have lots of irons in the fire right now, but stay tuned. If there is a deck you're looking for that you want to see if I can get, then just message me or email me. I'll try and source it down for you. I could probably get it at a bit of a discount. So absolutely, I can try and get you a deck if you want. All right, so jumping into the fairies this morning. So nice lighthearted messages, hopefully interesting. So the card that I pulled is New Location, which I think is ironic because I was talking about building a shop in my house in Dundas. And my business before this used to be in Waterdown for a number of years, and then I moved to Burlington briefly, and I've decided to bring my business closer to home in Dundas because I moved here a few years ago, and I love this little town, and I just want to be able to like walk to work, ride my bike to work. So I'm seeing people in person on Wednesdays only right now to start in Dundas, and then the rest of the days are distant. So I'm still doing sessions, but the new location can be a new physical location. So for some of you who are moving or are thinking of moving, whether it's your office or your home, this is the energy that's happening right now. But new location doesn't have to be a physical location. It can be moving to a new place in your mind or in your consciousness. So almost like a quantum leap or a quantum shift. And the reason why I think this card has the double meaning is if you look at the butterflies there, okay? And we are in the season of butterflies right now. And so the energy is very high for creation, for that joy, for that, the really like filling yourself up with life, because butterflies don't live a very long time. So they have to max it out in the short time that they have on the planet. So when butterfly medicine comes forward, it's about soaking it all up, enjoying all of it, like every last juicy detail. And it's also about transformation. And so transformation and new location, for some of you, this card might be coming up to say to you, okay, you've had the same thought patterns your whole entire life, and they're not working for you. Or you've done the same patterns of behavior your whole entire life, and they're not working for you. In fact, they might be starting to harm you or causing distress. And it's time to change that. It's time to move to a different part of your brain or a different part of your consciousness and start to think about things differently. So whether the new location is a physical location or whether you're kind of having that mind quantum shift, this is the energy we're in right now. So if you're thinking of making those changes, if you are thinking of moving, maybe it's just a thought yet, it hasn't come into physical manifestation, the energy is there supporting that right now. So this is a great time to research, looking at new locations or new places to be. And it's also a good time to take action. So for those of you who have a home and you're thinking of listing it and you're not sure, this would be the time where you find a realtor and you research what your house is worth and you find out the things you need to do before you move. This is a great time to be using that energy. For those of you where this feels like it is manifesting in your life in terms of needing to make internal change, then this is when you start to implement some new practices. Maybe you reach out to a life coach or a healer or a counselor or a business coach, and you start looking at things and the way you've done things and start to consider a different way of doing things. All right, so we're being supported in this right now to shift to a new location, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. It's there, the energy is there, so make the most of it. Welcome to everyone who just joined us. We are continuing with Tea and Tarot. We just did our first card, which was about shifting locations, and now we're gonna jump in. And as always, if there's a particular deck that you're fond of that you want me to draw from, just give a little heads up in the comments and I'll make sure I get to it today. All right, so I'm being drawn to daily guidance from our angels, and this is, I've showed you this deck before. It's my oldest, brattiest deck because it was my very first deck and it's been around the block. And that's the great thing about cards is You know, it's great when they're brand new and shiny and out of the package, but it's so great when they're just weathered. And I remember having a tarot card reading from this really old man years ago, and his cards looked like they had been run over by the car, and they were so dirty, but they were just like, you could tell he had done a million, you know, card readings with them. It was kind of cool. Definitely hand sanitizing after, though. They were dirty cards. All right. So I'm being drawn to this one. Okay, so this card is about noticing the signs. All right. So I'm a big believer that kind of everything that happens in your reality is a sign. And it's a really interesting way to go through life. Like if you go through today with the openness and the intention that everything that comes to you is a sign, is information and energy from spirit trying to help you, guide you on your path. If you start your day like that, you're going to have miraculous things, really synchronistic things happen. So this card is reminding us to notice the signs that we're not alone out there. We do have our angels and guides that are helping us, even though we can feel alone. And especially during this time. I mean, you can be surrounded by people and still feel alone. I think the feeling of loneliness is actually an internal thing. But, you know, we are surrounded by spirit that loves us and helps us and is always giving us little messages and little signs. It's just sometimes we're so busy or distracted or upset that we don't pick up on them. So it's an invitation for all of you today and going forward for the next couple of weeks till we meet again. Have at least one morning over the next 2 weeks where you wake up and you decide, okay, today's the day. Everything that comes to me from people, places, things, times, and events, everything that comes to me is a sign. I'm going to take it as a sign, as a message to help guide me on my path, to help bring me clarity. And just notice how your day is different. It's really amazing when you set that intention. And even if you're struggling with making a choice on anything, if you ask your guides and angels to help bring you clarity, you will get it. You will get it very quickly and very clearly. And sometimes it can cause a bit of drama and chaos when you ask that. But usually there's no like, oh, I don't know what to do anymore. It's in your face. So that's always a good thing to do too if you find you're struggling with making a choice. So notice the signs over the next 2 weeks, okay? And let me know, like, I love hearing from you guys. Like, I know that people can contact me through email and messaging on Instagram and messaging on Facebook and messaging on Meetup. And I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many ways messages are coming through. The best way to reach me is emailing me or messaging me on Instagram. The Facebook messages go into some kind of weird space. So, but always message me and let me know, like, some of the cool stuff that happens. I love hearing it. Or if you have any, you know, suggestions for future events, or if there's something that you're really looking for that you never know. I might be working on a workshop or something. So, all right, let's go to this deck. So this deck is, there's 2 decks, and I can't remember what this one is called, and I should know. Okay, so Cheryl Lee Harnish is the artist, and there's Path of the Soul and Divine Guidance. So this is actually the Divine Guidance deck. And I just found out she has a 3rd deck. So that's one of the ones that I ordered. Because I love these decks. They're all fractal images for those who haven't seen them before. So they're really beautiful just to look at. They don't have messages on the cards, but they come with a guidebook. But I like to go into the image and just see what comes. I'm being drawn to this one. Ooh, okay. I don't think I've ever pulled this card before. So, number 5. It kind of looks to me like, almost like a sunrise over here. Oops. Lot of color, a lot of movement, a lot of light coming through. There's some dark colors too, and there's nothing wrong with dark colors. I think in this card, it's almost like that light at the end of the tunnel. Like you know, and I know a lot of us have felt like we've kind of been on a roller coaster for the last few months. Like there's good times, there's troubling times, there's, you know, tricky times. So I think that this card is coming to us to show us that everything is always in motion. Everything is always changing. So when things are feeling a little heavy, a little not great, to not get stuck in that and focus on that, to always keep moving, to keep allowing things to shift, because they are. It's just when we get hung up on things that we hold them there. For example, I tell my clients this a lot because this is a tough one. Sometimes when you go for a healing session, it can bring emotions to the surface. And this can happen in yoga classes too. And these emotions might be from 20 years ago. It might be from when you were 5 years old and you lost a stuffed animal. And it's coming up to be released because for whatever reason it has remained trapped in the body. But because we have analytical minds and we like to know what's going on, if all of a sudden you feel sad out of the blue, the first thing we do is like, well, why am I sad? And then you start analyzing the emotion, which just keeps it with you longer. It's just like you're carrying around with you all day long. Instead of seeing the emotion as weather, like weather pattern moving through, just like the sun and a cloud and some rain, like just breathe and let it move through you. But when the emotions are big and heavy, we can get stuck in them. Like that's when you don't want to do your yoga practice. That's when you don't want to go for a healing session. That's when you just want to stay in your pajamas and like a blanket and kind of hermit for a bit. And that's okay. But this card is telling us that things are constantly moving and evolving and changing. So if you're in a heavy period of your life, the key to get out of it is movement, even if it's just small micro movements, okay? Even if it's just, doing some stretching on your floor or just breathing. And if you're really having a hard time, if you ever get really stuck and you don't know where to start, find an online meditation or something you can just passively listen to, because that will start to program your subconscious. So you don't have to do anything, but it'll help get you out of that sort of dark period and get you moving in the right direction. And ask your guides and angels for help, reach out to a friend, go for a healing session, do whatever you need to do. But we are coming to a lighter place. So I know that there's sort of mixed emotions out there in Ontario where I live. Some of you are from elsewhere, but everyone's experiencing this whole COVID situation differently and re-entry back into the world. And there's concern about the fall. Are we going to be on lockdown again? What's going to happen? And I think that instead of worrying about all of those things, we need to just focus on sort of the best scenario. Like, what do you want to see happen? What is your best vision for the future? And try to put your energy on that. It's not that we're ignoring what's happening. It's that we're choosing to put our focus on something positive, and we'll deal with whatever comes our way. So it's kind of being prepared for the worst, but hoping for the best. And I was a Girl Guide when I was younger, and I'm telling you, it's the same thing that I go by today. It's like I prepare for any situation, but I always hope for the best. But, I'm going to make sure that I have what I need. It's just like camping. Like, you've got your stove and you've got your shelter and you've got your this and your that. So, and how do you find out what you need when you're in a situation? Well, it's from being in situations where you haven't had what you've needed, and you learn really quickly. If you go camping without a tent and you get rained on, well, guess what? Next time you bring a tent. So we learn through our adversity and crazy things that happen. So what we experienced in the past doesn't mean that's going to happen in the future. Okay, and how we felt in the past, it doesn't mean we will feel that way in the future. So we choose. We have a lot of more power than we realize. So try to hold on to that light at the end of the tunnel. For those who are struggling, it is coming. Lighter times are coming. And the more you can put your energy there, the faster we can all get there, because we're going as a group. So try and keep it up, keep it light. Get outside. Enjoy nature, because that really helps too, big time. That puts us back into balance. I think that's why I've been spending so much time up at my trailer this summer, is because being outside every day, all day on the earth, really helps me stay grounded. Because I'm very intuitive and I get pulled up and I get into the chaos really easily. I feel everything, and I can get really sort of scattered and not feeling great. And so I find if I'm in nature, that's my medicine. So that might also be your medicine as well. And if it is, then get outside, soak it up as much as you can. All right, moving on. Let's do these ones. These are the Universal Love deck. That always reminds me of Glastonbury, even though it isn't. And I do trips to Glastonbury in Peru, and I'm supposed to have one coming up this summer, to Glastonbury in Scotland, but I'll keep you posted. So Glastonbury with Scotland, and then option to hike the West Highland Way for anyone who wants to come with me at the end. And also Peru, probably October of 21. Okay, so we just pulled the Divine Guidance card, and this is a very powerful card. I don't pull this one from the deck very often, but when I do, when I pull this card, it means things are coming and you can't do anything about it. But the good news is it's a very positive card. So it usually means change is coming. You can't do anything about it, but it's actually going to be really positive, transformative change. It's a rebirth. It's a new beginning. And so for those of you who feel like you're craving that, celebrate. It's coming. It definitely is. This is also a card of paying attention to the little tiny voice, because sometimes it gets drowned out, that voice inside of us, or that our soul is sometimes that tiny pull to something, but it can get drowned out by other things. So this card is saying, you know, get quiet, get still, and just listen, you know? And I find like getting outside and being near a tree really helps. Just sitting against a tree or laying near a tree. Trees know how to be still and they know how to be silent. So when we're near a tree, it helps us. Oh, sorry, Shelley. It's divine guidance. Is the connection okay with everyone? Let me know, you guys, if it gets weird. Usually the replay on Instagram is okay, so if the signal isn't good right now, hopefully it will repair itself. But divine guidance is about listening to that tiny voice that's pulling you to something, and it can sometimes get drowned out by the everyday things. So take that time every day and work it into your routine, okay? You don't have to spend hours meditating. We brush our teeth every day at some point, so just sneak it in your day for 5 minutes. You're going to sit and breathe, and you're going to breathe into your heart and connect into your inner space, and just let your body or your mind or your spirit or your emotions let you know what's going on. You might get an actual clear message that comes through, or a pull to something, or a realization, or a decision on something you've been struggling with for a really long time. I will say this about decision making. Oh, sometimes it's hard, right? Like you can waffle between two things for a very long time. And it could feel like your spirit guides and angels aren't helping you at all. They've left you alone. And you're like, what? That's usually a big decision you need to make on your own. And as soon as you decide in one direction or the other, then all of the support will come in. Okay, so if you ever feel like you're in that limbo of indecision, it's really uncomfortable. It's like the narrow part of an hourglass. There's very little air. It's very hard to breathe. But as soon as you pop into one direction or the other, things start moving. And at least with the movement, you'll get more information if something's right for you or not. So even if you make a choice in a direction, and then you realize, whoa, that was not good, then you can reverse and try the other way. But sitting in the middle and not making a choice and just suffering, you're better just to jump in one direction or the other direction. You'll find out really quickly if something's right for you or not. And sometimes it's surprising what you learn is right for you. It might not have been what you thought. So there you go. Divine guidance. Okay. Let's do the saints and angels next. I just recently tried sailing. I had never tried sailing before. Last year I was on a friend's parents' boat and I loved it. And I was just on the boat once. And then I wanted to learn to sail last summer. It didn't happen this summer. Didn't happen. And I ended up having a private lesson actually a week ago. And the weather was terrible. And the coach was going to cancel. And he's like, well, we don't usually take beginners out in this crazy waves and wind. And I was like, oh, come on, I just want to go. We capsized in the first 15 minutes. So there I am in the water, up under the boat. My worst nightmare. But you know what? Honestly, it scared the crap out of me, but I loved it so much anyway that I'm taking a sailing course starting on the weekend. So if you never see me again, that's what happened. But yeah, like sometimes you just don't know. Like I'm an old lady now. I wish I had learned about sailing when I was 12, you know, but sometimes we start things later in life. So Optimism is the card I pulled. Maybe having optimism that you won't drown if you try something new. Okay. So your angels are there. They've got your back. Allowing yourself to have the optimism. Sometimes people don't want to have it because they don't want to be disappointed. Like, what if I get too excited about something and then it doesn't go the way I want? Be excited anyway. Have that optimism. Things are looking up. They are getting better. The energy is shifting. I can feel it. Other people can feel it. I know there's lots of craziness in the world. If you feel like you're getting bogged down by stress and world events, then stay off your device for 24 hours and give yourself a media detox. I used to make my kids do that when they were little, and they'd totally freak out. It's like they were complete addicts. But they were always better for it. So if you need to do that, then do that and get outside, reset yourself, and then go back to it. You'll have a different perspective. But optimism, just having the faith, guys, having the faith. If you don't have the faith, reach out to someone who can have the faith for you until you can get the faith back. Because I've had dark times too, right? Like, I've had days. Everybody does. I'm a human being. But I've got great friends and great support network of people I can reach out to when I need help. And so it's important that we all do that. There's nothing wrong with you if you're having a crappy day and you feel like the world is ending. That is a normal part of being human. So embrace that as well. Okay, so what deck do we have here? This is the Magdalene Oracle. Okay, I don't know if we looked at this one last time. This is a good one. I like the artwork in this one. This is what the, kind of looks like a sad lady, but it's beautiful artwork. This artist, Tony Carmine Salerno, I have a couple decks with the artwork from that artist. Just really resonates with me. And that's the thing with cards, they're personal, right? So you'll find the ones that resonate with you. And like some of us, we just shouldn't be allowed in a card store. It's like going to look at cats and dogs at an animal shelter and think you're not going home with one. That never happens. Right, Merlin? I'm talking to my cat. That's exactly how I got him. Okay, War and Peace. Interesting. So there's a little bit of a theme today where it's kind of like there's darkness, there's heavy energy out there, there's lightness, there's positive energy out there, and we're really sort of being asked to choose what camp we want to be in. Like, you have to make a decision. You have to make a decision if you're going to stay in the darkness or if you want to move to the light. And that's like a literal, we're breaking it down into base things. But the darkness is the anger and the fear and the sadness and the hopelessness and the despair, you know, and the light is the hope and the faith. And yes, things are crappy, but we know they can get better, because if everybody has that in their hearts, we will change the world for the better. I see this whole thing happening in the world as transformation, as opportunity for evolution in a positive direction. Sometimes things need to completely fall apart before they can be rebuilt in a better way. And I feel that's what's happening worldwide right now. But I have some friends who go to really dark places with this stuff, and they think it's the end of the world and we're all going to die. And I'm kind of like, well, I can't live like that, or I don't want to live or do anything. And we are very powerful beings, even though we're in our own container. And I feel like me, Kerri, as a person, doesn't have a lot of impact in the world. But if we all come together, we're powerful, we're very strong. And so a lot of the things under the magnifying glass and under the microscope right now are really hard to look at. But as a culture, as a world consciousness, we need to look at these things so that we can make change. So it's like cleaning out your closet or your basement. When you first do that process, it's a mess. Stuff's all over the place. It looks worse than it did when it was in boxes. But then eventually you look at it all and you take to the curb or donate or release what you no longer need. You clear the space. It's a lot lighter. It's a lot better. So right now, worldwide, I mean, in its basis terms, we're cleaning out the junk closets, and it's all over the place. And so you can choose to look at all the garbage, or you can be like, okay, we're in process with this, but this is how it's going to be at the end. I'm going to focus on that new beginning, that new reality. And I really feel like that's what we're being asked to do right now. And it can be hard to do if you're not, having a good day, or if you're in a bad frame of mind. But again, that's when you reach out to people for help. Okay. I'm one of those people, I do healing in different sessions like that. There's a million people out there too. So there's a lot of us, and friends and family, and sometimes just hanging out with your pets or your crystal pets if you have lots of rocks like I do. Whatever works. Okay. So, being drawn to life purpose deck. So overall, I think that the message is pretty light today. It is about us deciding, though, where we want to be with the future, because we do have a lot of power of choice. And for some of us, it's time to make a big change. We've been sitting on it for maybe a decade. And I'll be honest with my own life, this is what's happening right now. I'm being put in really uncomfortable situations. I've wanted to do some more online things and have resources for people for probably 15 years, and I've avoided it because what we're doing right now, this video thing, is my worst nightmare, to be honest. I don't know why. I never liked public speaking growing up or any of that stuff, and I've had to really get outside of my comfort zone. I've had to do a lot of work. And this has been a safe thing for me because, this is fun and you guys have been great. And so this has sort of helped me, but I need to do more of some things. And so I've been kind of pushing myself. And I start to lose my voice. It's like so weird. Probably all this past lives of having my head chopped off or being hung or burned as a witch. I don't know. But anyway, that's the stuff I'm working through right now. And so everybody's got something. And we never know what other people's things are, right? Like, that's the thing. You just don't know until they tell you. But everyone is working on something right now. So compassion is key, absolutely. And never make assumptions. Hey, is that Meredith and John, or both Meredith and John from England? I was just talking about Glastonbury. I was saying, want to have a trip there. I hope the world allows it. And Deb, welcome to everyone who just joined in. So we're kind of past the halfway point, but we're still going, reading the oracle cards. And also, too, the cool thing about Instagram is this just sort of started happening midway before, around the time when I started doing tea and tarot, is it will post this on the profile so that you can watch it on Instagram TV after. So I do also put it on YouTube, but it makes my life so much easier that it automatically does that. So for those who want to watch the beginning part, you can grab that easily. So I pulled the flower card, and this is really interesting to me because first of all, I love flowers, and we're in that beautiful time of year of flowers. And it's ironic that John and Meredith tuned in from the UK, because I take groups to Glastonbury, England, and it's sort of like the heart chakra of the earth, or like the big flower that opens up, like the rose. And so that's for you guys probably. So, but the opening of and that joy, and flowers being in full bloom out there right now, there's a lot of energy in flowers. And I did talk about this in a different episode, I think a couple months ago, because flowers came up in a different card. And when I was in Peru, they used to give me these flower baths to bathe with, which was really a bucket of water with flowers in that you'd sort of put all over your body, and then go to sleep with the little plant bits on your body to connect to the energy of the plant itself, because it was helping to heal you. They would also make drinks with things that you would like puree and drink. But we have a lot of flowers that we can actually eat. I have a friend who's a landscaper a few years ago told me you can eat Rose of Sharon. I didn't know that. I knew you could eat roses and dandelions and violets, but there are a lot of flowers that are edible just in your backyard. It's amazing. And there's flower remedies that you can get, homeopathic flower remedies that can really help with shifting things energetically. So if you have been feeling the heaviness, if you do feel like you need some more joy and lightness in your life, then get yourself some flowers from your garden and have a flower bath. Or find some flower remedy tinctures that resonate with you. Or you could even make your own. But bring some flowers into your indoor spaces, into your life somehow. Or just take time and hang out with the flowers. Maybe you're a gardener. But this card is asking you to spend some time in the energy of the flower energy. It is a very beautiful, joyful, lighthearted, healing energy. There's the flowers are almost like, I believe that all the plants have a spirit. And so the flowers collectively, to me, the spirit is joy and healing, and healing the heart especially. So definitely connect to them in whatever way feels right for you in the next 2 weeks. The flowers. They're great. All right, romance angels, because, you know, can never have too much love. And relationships have gone through an interesting time. I've talked to people who've their relationships have completely blown apart during COVID, and other people have been pulled closer together. So it's been really interesting. It's sort of just, I think, magnified whatever was happening. But, you know, it's been, because we've been in a difficult, stressful time, it's also magnified what's going on with people individually. So, you know, your partner might have been going through some serious heavy stuff, and it's been tricky. So I pulled the attraction card. You attract romantic love by enjoying the moment fully. So it's like that, when we're talking about being in joy and enjoying summer and soaking it up. When you are your fulfilled, happy, healthy self, you will automatically attract what you put out there, basically. So like attracts like. If you are vibrating at a really low frequency, you're not going to attract anything at a really high frequency. And so for those of you who've done any kind of manifestation workshop or law of attraction or any of that stuff, this is not news to you, that like attracts like. You magnetically attract that which you are. And that's why all of your friends and the people that you love in your life are very much like you. You know, that's why you get along. You talk about the same things, you have the same views, like you're in the same frequency. Well, if you don't like the frequency you're in and you're trying to get to a new one, you need to make change. Like you've got to bring some people into your life that are vibing at that frequency. I'm reading several books right now, but I just read the other day that like this sort of exercise, and it's like, look at the 10 people you spend the most time with. What's going on in their life? What's their energy like? What's happening with them? You know, because that's you. That's your pod. So if you want to make change, you're either the high vibing person that's pulling everyone else along, or you need to also get some people in your life that help push you forward. So sometimes it's easy to get comfortable in our group of who we know and what we know. But this card of attraction is saying, okay, like raise your vibration up and start attracting more of those things into your life that are sort of where your soul's going, or where you want to go, where you want to be. And that will happen naturally. You don't have to go ditch all your existing friends and family. They're lovely. That's not what this card means. It just means as you change your vibration and do the healing work necessary and let go of those things you don't need, you automatically start attracting more positive experiences into your life. So if you're having a bad day, and I used to joke with this about my friends, because sometimes, like, honestly, I wake up and it feels like the energy is so whacked out there and I feel really off, that I know if I go out in the world, I'm going to have a terrible day where everything that could go wrong will go wrong. And it's got nothing to do with the energy out there. It has to do with me. So if I can like get my energy clear or reset or take a time out or do what I need to do to get vibing better, then when I go out there, it's going to be less crazy. Now, sometimes the energy out there is just insane no matter what you do. But how you handle it has everything to do with you. And so there are days where I'm like, you know what? I'm better serving the world if I just stay home in my pajamas today. Because like if I go out there, it's just going to be like complete madness. So, I mean, we don't have the luxury to do that all the time. But be aware that you are a key part of your experience out there. So if you're off, everything's going to go off. The wheels are going to fall off the cart. So staying centered in whatever way works for you, because there's different ways for different people. For me, yoga helps, exercise, breathing, getting outside. If I'm in a really bad space, am I doing any of those things? No, I just want to have popcorn and Netflix binge. Like, come on. But, you know, if I have a bad moment like that, I try and go big. Like if I'm feeling crappy and I need to, like, you know, do that, I try to pack it all into 12 hours and just, or 8 hours or even smaller. It's like, okay, I'm going to feel sorry for myself for an hour, solidly good. And then I'm going to pop out of it rather than dragging on for days or weeks or months. So you are, you know, it's hard, like, because you're responsible a little bit for what's going on out there. And everybody already feels like they've been through too much. I feel like I'm kind of being critical, but it's okay, guys. Just take a deep breath. Do whatever you need to raise your vibration. Put a crazy song on. Dance around your kitchen. If you've got kids, they're going to think you're crazy, but it doesn't matter because they're going to think you're crazy anyway. All my guys think I'm a little cheese slightly off the cracker, but whatever. Whatevs. It's funny. My kids grew up with all my weirdness, and they get it, and some of them are still okay with it. And they'll make fun of me big time, but then I'm the first one they come to when they have a big question or something they're struggling with. So you just never know. All right, so we're going to the, I don't know, Wisdom of the Hidden Realms. It's got these cool gates on it. This is an older deck, Colette Baron Reed. I really like it. The Dragon's Duel. Wow, this keeps coming up, this light and darkness fighting. I feel like we're in Harry Potter and it's like Voldemort and, you know, Dumbledore. For those of you who love Harry Potter, I love Harry Potter. I was so sad when she stopped writing the Harry Potter books. You have no idea. Okay, the Dragon's Duel. So this is it's about that light and dark within us that's always there. And you can't have one without the other. We have both. We have to have both. It's like the night sky. You can't see the stars without the night sky, right? Like there's beauty in that. Like we have all of the things that maybe we don't like about ourselves and all the things that we do love too. And they're always going to be there. So the key is to make balance and love all parts of yourself. Imagine, I love using analogies. So imagine every little bit of yourself that's inside of you right now. Like all of the emotions, all the things that you love, all the things that you're ashamed of, all those things you don't like and that you love. Imagine that they're things and you're having, and you're cleaning out your body and everything's on the lawn. It's like you're cleaning out your entire house and everything's on the lawn. The really awful stuff and the really good stuff. There's a tendency where we want to just look at the good stuff and only keep the good stuff and leave all the yucky stuff out there. But the key here is to really look at everything and thank it because it's made you who you are. And most of you haven't gotten to where you are now without having gone through some really hard times or some adversity or some kind of emotional breakdown. And that's life. That's the way it is. We can't know joy without the pain. You know, we can't know peace without the chaos. And we can't know love deeply unless we've been really, really hurt. And it's hard to open yourself up to good things when you've had the flip side. But it's important. And it's important to keep going. And it's important to keep that faith. So this card is coming up and it's saying it's your choice how you get through the next couple of weeks. Your choice, what your mindset is. Forget about what's happening around you. You choose how you get through it with this, how you think and how you feel. You're in control of that. Even if it feels like you're not, you absolutely are. You can look at the negative things in your life as an opportunity for growth and change, or you can take them as an excuse to not participate in life. All right? So the choice is yours. You know, and I've had some terrible things happen in my life. Like, I'm not going to make this all about me. I could talk for hours about some of the crazy stuff that's happened in my life. And maybe someday I will share that, and that will be a whole separate story because I could probably write a whole series of books. But looking back, I needed those things to happen to propel me forward. And I'm grateful for them. I don't want to go through them again, Lord no. But I can look at them and be like, yeah, that sucked. But it got me from A to B, maybe faster than the easy road. So, you know, just looking back at your lemons in life, I guess, and realizing that they are in fact your lemonade. And I was talking to a friend of mine about this as well. People are always asking me, Kerri, you know, what's my soul path? Like, what's my purpose in life? All that stuff. And I'm like, you know what? You can find it in your difficulty, because what we come here to overcome and what our greatest challenge is ends up being our greatest gift to the world. For example, let's say someone's had a lifetime of addiction and abuse and suffering, and then they come out the other side of that and they decide to become an addiction counselor or help people through that which they've already gone through. They're going to be great at it because they've lived it. They know what it's like. They're not just having compassion. They have compassion. Like, they are legit, you know, perfect for that job. So look at what's challenged you in your life. Look at what's made your life really difficult, and look at what you've learned. And that's your gift to share. It doesn't mean you have to do it as a career, but you might help a friend through a really hard time because you've gone through it yourself. You know, so there's a gift in our experiences, even the ones that aren't positive. But this card that's coming up is asking us to choose. It's asking us to choose. It's sort of a battle within ourselves right now. Are we going to let the negativity win, negativity of the world win? Are we going to stay stuck there? Or are we going to rise above and say, you know, not today, right? For those of you who like Lord of the Rings, it's when Gandalf is on the bridge and that big Balrog monster's coming for him, and he slams his staff down and he's like, you're not crossing the bridge today. Well, that's not exactly what he said, but you know what I mean? He's like, no. And that monster represented all of his fears, or all of the things that stopped him or that were preventing him from moving forward. And so when he stood up to his greatest fear, you know, he fell into the pit and we all thought he died, but he really just transformed into like a greater, stronger white wizard. So yeah, it's heavy, but you know, we're going through it. And so we will come out the other side. And just like that pot that goes in the fire to become a vessel, like I really love pottery too. Here's another analogy for you. But like when you throw something on the wheel and you make a bowl, it's out of clay and it dries. But if you put water on it, it goes back into squishy clay again. But once you throw that bowl on the wheel and it dries and you pop it in the kiln, once it goes through that first firing, it can never become clay again. It's now a pot. It holds water. It might not have glaze on it, but it's like basic terracotta or plain clay pot. It holds water. You can't add water to it and turn it back into clay. It's gone through the first firing. And the first firing, do you think that's fun, being in a kiln and being lit on fire? That's awful, but we go through that in life. We have several firings, and every time you go into the fire, you go into that adversity, it makes you stronger. It makes you able to hold more. And then that pot gets glazed and to make it look pretty and go back in the fire again. It's like, holy hell, why am I here a second time? Probably wondering. And it comes out beautiful, you know? Sometimes pots blow up in the kiln and smash other pots around. That can happen. You know, our firings aren't always perfect. Sometimes they're messy. But at the end of the day, it really is true that those things that we experience make us stronger. They make us who we are. And so I'm encouraging you over the next 2 weeks not to delve into your darkness too deeply, like enjoy summer, but just go back and look at some of the big things that have happened in your life that have been really challenging for you, and notice how it's changed you and how it's transformed you and how it's made you the beautiful person that you are today. Okay? Find the gift in some of those negative experiences. And some of them you might not be able to forgive the people involved or forgive the situation or experience or whatever, but you can find a nugget of something good in there, even if it's fresh. Okay? The more that time that happens, more we can look back and have the wisdom that comes with the experience. When you're fresh in transformation, it's hard to sort of see the gift in it when you're in the poop. But just pick something in your life that you found very difficult in your past and just try to pull from it, if you haven't already, the lesson and the wisdom and the good thing about your experience and how it's changed you in a positive way. All right? Let's do one more. We're going to do one more card before we sign off. And I'm going to go to the triple, these mini cards where I pick one of each, a silver wing, a gold wing, and then a 2-circle one. Actually, it's funny because my cat ate one. I just want to show you that he's such a beast. right, Merlin. Oh, he chose his name too. I didn't know what to name my cat. I had like 20 different names. I put pieces of paper on the floor, and I told him, I'm like, you have to pick your name. So he had a stuffed bunny, and he put it next to the name Merlin. And I'm like, really? Like, Merlin's he has got a dark side, you know? And then he went and sat on the name, and then he laid down on the name. So I was like, okay, well, I guess that's the name. But I like the name Merlin, but it's kind of like what we're talking about. There's the light and the dark, right? You choose. So my cat hasn't decided if he's a good wizard or a dark wizard yet. He's eating all my oracle cards. Okay, so the silver wing card, the message is find new fertility of mind or body. So new fertility, that new beginning in mind and body. Start fresh. Yes, you're not a brand new baby, but start fresh with something. Start fresh, like brand new, like you're growing something, like you're building something, and that might be you. Just like the snake shedding its skin, or that caterpillar becoming the butterfly. Allow yourself to transform, allow yourself to change, allow yourself to heal. The gold wing card, time for creativity and transformation. Wow, you think? In whatever way that works for you, whether it's a new project or just trying something new, like maybe trying a new way to exercise, or you know, just new stuff. Like go out there, discover things, try things you've never tried before. Like I didn't think I was going to like sailing so much because I'm terrified of drowning. So my desire and excitement for wanting to learn to sail is higher than my fear of drowning. Not by much, but enough that I want to learn more. I don't know how I'll feel in a couple of weeks. I'll keep you posted. And the key is to wear gold on the right. Now, I don't know about this. Does that mean we have to go get gold bracelets and gold rings and wear them on the right side of our body? That's what this card says. I don't know. I don't know about that, but you could try it. If you have gold, put it all on your right side, everybody. Wearing gold on the right side for the next 2 weeks. Maybe you'll win the lottery. Who knows? The angels have spoken. All right. So I think that's a wrap. I always I don't really time this, but I always sort of get a feeling when it wraps up, and it's usually around the same amount of time. So I hope you have a great 2 weeks. Stay in touch with me. Let me know if you want me to keep this going over the fall and winter, or if there's anything else that you're interested in. I'm working on some online courses right now that can be easily done from home, and also live. So it's not just like you're on your own with it. So if there's anything like that that you want to learn or learn more about, and I want you guys to go out there and kick some ass for the next 2 weeks, okay? Like, vibe high, attract some goodness, decide how you're going to get through the next few weeks, you know? And honestly, it's a pleasure. I have so much fun doing this, and I'm so grateful for everyone who showed up. Thank you. Okay? Bye, guys. Take care. Oh, free healing tonight too. So on my Instagram, just put yes in the comments. I'll send you, you can get in on the free group healing. Okay. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.